Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson. Beside me is Chance Michaels, and beside him and me is Angel Lozano, up and coming prospect, 3-0 currently. And right now, he's a part of a new thing called the Combat League. Angel, thank you for coming on the show. I know you're in the middle of producing the show and being a part of it. How's everything going, my man?
Oh yeah, it's good. Thank you guys for having me. I'm actually 4-0. Just the box rec kind of messed up and they haven't updated it, so I gotta email them about that too as well.
Okay, I apologize, man. 4
No,
0.
no, it's all good. Yeah, a lot of people get it confused, but I'm like, no, I'm 4-0. I just gotta send my second fight to them and have them review it, I guess, or something.
Awesome, awesome. So, Angel, the first thing I'd like to ask you is you used to love basketball and you were a really good basketball player. And then, unfortunately, you tore your MCL, ACL, and that kind of directed you to boxing. How did that transition happen? It's a weird one from basketball to boxing.
Yeah, well, I was always into like sports growing up, but basketball was my sport. Like I thought I was gonna make it all the way, that was my dream. And I guess God had other plans for me. My life redirected to I got injured in one of the games. I jumped in the air for the jump ball and I popped my knee, and it was just like I don't know, it was weird. And then so I just kind of like, all right, I had to weigh out the options. Like, all right, this is my chances of going to the NBA. It really wasn't that big anymore. So I just kind of let it go and just lost hope with it. And then um, I ended up finding boxing like a little bit after once my knee kind of healed a little bit. I found boxing, and I didn't know where boxing was gonna go. Honestly, I just did it because it was something I loved. I always been real competitive with sports, and I hated to lose. So boxing was just kind of like, all right, this is all on you now. All the work you put in, it's gonna show. There's no more team where, oh, if this guy messes up, we could pick him back up here. This is all about you now in the ring. So I like that a lot. So that's really what made me fall in love with the sport.
How old were you when you began your journey to boxing?
I was 17. Um, and it was like when I was 17 years old, boxing, I was still in high school. So it was kind of like, I felt like, oh, I started late, but I was still trying to pick it up. But like I said, I really didn't know where it was going to go because I was still partying and into the streets. And, so I really I just enjoyed doing it. I didn't know what it was going to lead to.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I guess from some of the research that I've done, you got pretty big there. You got to about 255, 250 pounds. Is that what triggered you at the end of the day? It's like you just realized what am I doing to myself, and that just kind of prompted you.
Yeah. So I like when I was into basketball, I was in shape. When I first got into boxing, I was in shape. And when I first hurt my knee in basketball, like I didn't really take care of it. I was just kind of like that stubborn kid was just like, nah, I don't like the doctors. I don't like the doctors. Because my brother passed away when I was 12 years old or 11 years old. He was 12 years old.
Our
So for me as a
condolences.
kid, I was just always afraid to go to the doctors. I don't want to hear nothing that's going to kill me or, just let me live my life.
Mhm.
That's the kind of mentality I had. So I was always avoiding the doctors or any of that stuff. And until it got worse where I was playing, and then my knee would just keep giving out on me, keep giving out on me. I'll let it heal for 2, 3 weeks, and then I'll try to go again. And my mom was just like, go to the doctors already. Until I was sparring one time and I wouldn't go throw a right uppercut. I was probably like 18 years old and my knee twisted and it popped. And after that, like I knew, all right, this is serious now. Like there's no more trying to fight it off a little bit, let it heal. It was time to go get what needed to be taken care of. And then I had knee surgery, and my momentum just crashed. I had a lot of hopes in boxing that I was gonna just try it out and see where it went. And once I popped my knee all the way, and I had to get the surgery, and it put me down. It made me look at like the things we take for granted a little bit differently, like being able to run again, being able to walk again. Because I was on bed rest because I couldn't walk, or I had to I had to like learn how to reuse my knee pretty much again.
Mhm.
And so it just made me love it, like appreciate it more, this time around, and don't take it for granted. So that's why I just try to stay busy. And when I came back into boxing, I didn't know where I was gonna do it yet. Still, like when I was in going through the surgery and all that, like the recovery part, I didn't know what it was gonna happen. I thought boxing was out of the window, so I just crashed. Like that's the only thing I really loved in this. I loved it, and it was boxing, and it got taken away from me. So I had to like refocus myself. So like, how am I going to get myself together? They gave me pain pills and I started getting hooked on the pain pills. And then I just started smoking weed a lot, and it just slowed me down, and it was just time to. One day I was looking in the mirror at myself, and I was just like, dang, like don't let yourself go, like you got this still. And I just went to the gym and I started working out again until I got to like 2:30. I started sparring again, and I was sparring heavyweights, and I was just going local gyms, and I started tagging up some local pros that were pro already, and I was still an amateur, only 2 fights, and I was doing pretty good with them. And I just kept like the hardest part was getting the weight down. Like it was a struggle to get it down. So I was just like, dang, like only if I can get my weight down. And just learning as I went in the journey, I learned more discipline, and it started building discipline in my life, boxing. Because before I was just a kid and I just ran free with whatever I kind of wanted to do, So it was just boxing actually put like that structure in my life that I needed.
How much did your diet change when you began to be an amateur boxer? Did you lose all that weight? You must have had the diet must have played a big role in losing weight too, also.
Yeah, it was a big role, and it was just like a lot of ups. It was like a roller coaster, honestly. Like it was just some days it was going good, and then some days it would just crash, like where I would just lose momentum for a bit, and then I would just keep finding it. Like that's why boxing always kind of humbled me and brought me back to reality. And all right, you got to push harder. You got to push harder. And once I was able to control my weight and just being able to control my diet a little better, is when I started stepping up the competition in the sparring, because I just said like, all right, I don't want to be a gym fighter and I don't want to be a local fighter, like just sparring guys local. And all right, I know I could beat this guy up and this guy up. So that's when I started learning like, all right, with the level changes, there's going to be better competition now, so I would start going for more pros than amateurs. So I started like trying to look for all the good pros my weight. And there's not too many pros out here, like in the LA IE area, that were good work. There was very few. So you would have to you didn't want to go too hard on them, because you wanted to make the sparring last. So that's when I would just always reach out like on Instagram to a lot of these world champions. I was just like, let me see where it would go. And I would just hit them up like, hey, can I get some sparring with you? Can I get some sparring with you? And they would ignore me until like eventually it was kind of like, you speak some things into existence, into the universe, it's going to come back around, Yeah. And I just started praying for these things, and they did. They all came back around. I started sparring with a guy named Demar from Chicago out here. He was out here, and we were training together. He was 13-1 with 10 knockouts, and he taught me a lot sparring with pros. He would do he worked with a lot of pros too, so he was teaching me a lot of the ins and outs as a pro before I even turned pro. So then he took me to spar with Zudo Ramirez out there in Santa Monica, and I did good. And then it just kind of word got to mouth pretty much. Like I went from Zudo to Badu Jack, then to David Benavidez, and it just kind of bounced all around, like I said, there's not too many guys that will give you good work, our size, 175, 200 pounders. So you had to travel for it. And I was just thankful that I got these big names, because me not having the experience that I was lacking from the amateurs.
That's a blessing in a way. I mean, some of the names that you've sparred with are just unbelievable. The list of who's who. Like, I mean, in essence, we're talking pound for pound guys here. Bivol, Bivol is one of them. You also
Triple G.
You also sparred with Benavidez Samp&Chance. We'll get into that in a little bit, but so it's just all word of mouth. And from guy to guy, how much different are they?
I mean, they all have their own strengths and their own, you're able to see their weaknesses. But they all have their own strengths in every way. Like I believe everybody has their own strength. It's just about finding it. And for me, it was just like, all right. At first, I used to be a little nervous of these guys, like sparring with them. But sure. Then the more you practice this, you're gonna get more comfortable with it. So I knew too, like, all right, they're just a man just like me. Yeah, they're better than me right now, but if I just keep showing up and keep working hard and trying to learn instead of compete with these guys, I'm gonna learn from them. Every time that I go in there with them, I'm gonna try to learn, not just try to go competitive and try to beat them up. Right. And I was able to grow a lot more than focusing on what they're doing good. And
was that something you learned from experiencing this, or is this something you went in thinking?
Learning from the experience. At first I used to be like growing up in the streets, like I had the little tough guy attitude first going into boxing, and it humbled me. You go in there and you think like, oh, I could fight. I seen a lot of people come from the streets, from football, and they all think like, oh, I could lift weights, I'm gonna be able to fight. 3 minutes is a long 3 minutes when you never done something, for like a long time like that. There's no breaks in those 3 minutes. So I seen people gas out right away, and I was one of them. I got gassed out. I remember I sparred this one pro when I was 17. His name was like Ivan Stovall. I think he was from Pomona, and he was a good prospect back then. And so when I sparred him, he was fat. And I just thought like, oh, I'm gonna beat this fat boy up, and that boy, he caught me with a body shot. And that was the first like, all right, what the heck? Like, what did he catch me with? And he just had the experience on me. So I had to learn that you can't just go in there off of like the pridefulness, like I'm gonna beat this guy up, I'm stronger than him. Like, yeah, that's good to have confidence, but it's also to be smart and confidence. And I gotta watch Bivol prepare for Canelo, and the guy had confidence. The guy was confident, but never cocky. He was just confidence in the work he put in. And I respected him a lot, like how he carried himself for that.
Before that fight happened, did you have a feeling that Bivol was going to beat Canelo because you were watching him spar?
Yeah, and my brother bet $500 on Canelo to win, and I told him, why would you do that? Like, I would have been told you the one first. Like, don't do that. This guy's like, I'm serious. Like, he don't hit that hard. Like, he don't look like he hits that hard, but when he was in the gym hitting the bags, like you'll see that rack move, and it was just like consistent, compact punches. It wasn't just like like a hard punch one at a time. It was consistently but sharp. So I try to study him a lot and learn some of his ways, because he's real composed and calm and collective, when he fights.
Yeah. Now Chancellor's a huge Triple G guy. Maybe shed some light on what it was like working with him and being with him.
So actually I didn't spar with Triple G. I just took a picture with him that one. I was sparring with his prospect, Ali Akhmedov.
Okay.
Yeah, so I learned a lot from just Triple G, because he was always there. I was staying in the camp house with them for that camp, the last Canelo fight. And he just taught me a lot of stuff. Like, he gave me a lot of like game, how to what to watch out for, and how to carry myself, and he just kind of gave me a little bit of view on what to look forward to, and what to watch out for, like that, stuff like that. He would give me tips on what to work on and things like that.
Akhmedov was on the undercard of that fight as well, right? I believe.
Yeah, he fought Gabe Rosado.
Yeah. So just again doing our research and trying to learn you, I guess. You told the story about you spent some time with some of these Eastern European guys in the beginning, and I remember there was this one story where you went in and again, this is that pride and everything, and you didn't want to wear the bodysuit. Share that story with us.
Yeah, so his name's Bektemir Malikuziev. He's from Uzbekistan. He's like a 2016 silver medalist. They call him Bek the Bully, and the dude's really strong. He's really strong. And I used to, like, before I try to fight these guys, I'll study them a little bit so I know what to watch out for. And so I just knew he was strong. So I didn't know nothing about his body shots like that. So when I go to the camp for it, the coach tried to give me the body protector, and I was just like, no, I'm good, man. Like, I'm all right, And it's kind of like the pride in me got from like, oh, I already sparred with Benavidez, I already sparred with Badu Jack and Zudo Ramirez, so I don't even know who this guy is, Like, who's Bektemir? Like, I didn't know who he was then, and so I went in there like, no, I'm good, I don't need it. I know he's strong, and so he caught me with, like, the first round, he caught me with a good body shot, and I've never been hit with a body shot like that, and it was just like, oh, dang, like, it humbled me. And he's a real good, like, calm, humble guy too, so you can't even be mad at him. Like, when he caught you with it, you're just like, oh, this guy got me, and it was a good experience. And then, so now when I would go over there to spar with him, like, I've been in pretty much all his camps since he's been out here. Because not a lot of people would be able to last in his camps. Like, I've seen guys come and they'll leave the same week, they were falling like flies over there, because they had that pride thing. And I was just like, you got to be smart with this guy, and you can't, go crazy, because that's what he's trying to engage you in. And yeah, like, I would tell a lot of the guys when they would come, like, hey, put the bodysuit on. They're like, no, I don't need that. Like, I'm like, all right, man, I'm wearing it, it's all good. You don't have to be prideful. And then they would learn the hard way too, like myself. So just, yeah, it was funny. It was funny though.
And that's what I love about boxing, is that humility. I mean, it's something that you either come in with or you end up learning, I find. And
yeah,
you see, I find that a lot of guys that come in the beginning are very different when they leave, in terms of their mentality and how they perceive the sweet science. Angel, how did you end up on Logan Paul's radar?
So like I said, like he's from Encino. He lives in Encino. So it was time to when all this got like called on for, they were trying to look for guys that could box in with him, and they were trying to find people that were kind of near his size that could move a little bit, you know. And I was one of the bigger guys that one of his coaches, Milton, had seen me sparring in a local gym, you know, sparring with somebody. So they had just reached out to me, and I thought it was a joke at first. Like, what do you mean spar with this guy, you know? And I didn't even know who Logan Paul was. That truth be told, like, and I'm telling my cousin about it, like, hey, they want me to spar this guy Logan Paul, and they want me to spar this guy Logan Paul. I just know he has a big following on Instagram. I didn't really know nothing about him, and then I'm telling my little brothers and my little sister, and they're all excited, like Logan Paul. Like, I guess they watched his YouTube channel and that, so they were all excited. And then I was just like, all right, let's go see. So then once I started watching his stuff a little bit to understand who he was first, I went and gave it a try, and it was fun. It was a good experience, honestly. They're good people.
How would you describe his boxing skills when you were sparring with him? Is he better than people think, or?
He's hesitant. He's athletic. He's pretty athletic. He's big, but his skills, they're decent. I mean, he tries to be a thinker. He's a little hesitant, you know, on it, but he tries to box with like, I don't know what he did with Mayweather. He just went crazy in there and he just started bombing on him. But yeah, it was a good experience.
Did you get a chance to spar with his brother Jake at all? Or was he around?
Yeah. So when I sparred with Logan, I sparred Jake a couple times. And one time I got there to spar with Logan because I was there Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I would go over there to his house. And one time I went over there and I seen like the whole parking or the whole front of his house was filled with cars. So I'm like, oh damn, they got a crowd today. And he was like, hey, so when I'm walking in, he was like, hey bro, you're not gonna spar me today. You're gonna spar my brother because he's talking shit saying that I got whack sparring partners and that. So I was like, all right. And then yeah, we sparred with him and it was fun. It was
Did
fun.
you put it on him?
Yeah, it was fun.
Would you say Jake's a better boxer than Logan?
I feel like Jake has the dog more in him. Not a better boxer probably, but I mean he goes for the knockout. He's not trying to do nothing. He's not really trying to use no skills. He's just trying to throw a bomb. So it was easy to see it, you know, like every time he would throw it, he wasn't able to catch nothing because he was just kept throwing that overhand right.
Okay.
But I mean, I give them the credit because they do put in the work. A lot of people hate on them. And for me, it's like I don't hate on them because for me, it's like I started boxing late. You know, I started at 17 years old and didn't take it serious till I was like 22 years old, you know? So it's like I can't say be like, oh, these guys are bad for boxing when actually they're giving people a little bit of hope, like, hey, you want something, you got to work hard for it and you can get it, you know? That's just the way I look at it. And they're putting new eyes into the sport. And you never know, you know, anybody can inspire anybody. So these people, I mean, I can't knock them for what they're doing.
I totally agree with you with the Paul brothers. I think they're good for the sport too. What fighters made you want to become a boxer? Did you have any heroes growing up that you idolized that made you want to become a boxer?
Like when I first got into boxing, one of the first boxers that I followed right away was Andre Ward. And just because of his nickname, Son of God. SOG. Well, when I was a little kid, me and my brother, we made this little crew and it was called SOG. And it was stand for Sons of God. Oh, nice. So, and it was just like we thought we were little knuckleheads making our own little crew running around. So when I watched boxing, that was like a name that popped up right away. So for me, it just like caught my heart and my attention because my brother passed away, and that was something that we had made up, you know. So, and then after learning about Andre Ward, he's a man of God, and the way he carried himself, like in and out of the ring, it made me respect him. You know how he walked away at the top of the sport. So it was really cool.
That's awesome.
So, you know, back to Jake Paul and Logan Paul, I'll be honest, I was one of those guys who wasn't really keen on them just because I love boxing so much. I mean, I'm an old school guy that way, but I've grown to respect what they're bringing to the sport and the eyes that they're bringing, you know, so you know, it's kind of cool. Going on to Badu Jack and Jake Paul, did you catch their fights recently?
Yeah, I was supposed to actually try to get down there to I was supposed to be in Badu Jack's camp out there in Dubai, this last one, but then his opponent he fought was a southpaw, so it kind of threw me off. You know, I wasn't able to get that experience, but hopefully, God willing, that this next one comes around. I hear that Crusher is supposed to fight whoever he's supposed to fight, and if he wins, he would be the mandatory for Badu Jack. You know, the champion.
Now, as you reflect on those fights, how do you think Badu did? It was, like, I mean, I
I
think,
look good, honestly. He looked good. I think his last fight he had with that guy Rivera or whatever. I helped him out for that camp, and that guy was just awkward. He put up a tough fight, and he looked weird. He made it look weird. The fight.
right,
So
right.
I'm glad Badu Jack was able to show a better side of him,
Yeah.
and he looked good. He looked really good.
He's the oldest champion now too, right? So there
Yeah,
you
him
go.
and Triple
Yeah.
G.
Yeah. The Tommy Fury Jake Paul fight. Your thoughts on that?
It was good. I mean, it was a good thing for both of them. Like for me, it's like, all right, Jake Paul, he got humbled now. He learned about it. Like he didn't go cry about it on social media. He sounds more humble, and like I said, sometimes you have to go through these things like that to grow more than what you think you were at.
Did he lose
Jake
though?
Paul, yeah, I think he lost.
Yeah.
I think Fury was able to box him, pretty good. Fury was getting caught with some shots, with some good. So he showed that he had a good chin because Jake Paul does crack. He does crack like he could throw a bomb, and he was catching Fury with some wild shots. And I think the rematch would be, it's gonna be if they have it, I think it'll be a crazy fight because I think Jake Paul might actually drop him this time more, and hurt him more because he's gonna be a little bit more confident. He already seen like, all right, I seen what all this guy's skills were. His power didn't really affect Jake Paul, so I think he'll go in there a little bit more a little careless.
I feel Jake needs to work on his range and closing distance. I think he needs to put more work into that. As the competition gets better for him, I feel that's going to be his downfall. Thoughts?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure he does. There's always room for growth for anyone. And if he wants to be, maybe this thing was a good thing for him so that he didn't be in the top 10. Because this is a ranking now he's in. For the I don't know if it's the top 10, but I know he's got put in the ranking.
Close to the end, I think it's like top 40.
Okay, so he's in the rankings now. So it's like, maybe you didn't want to bite that much yet, and then you're in the rankings and you're really gonna get exposed. Whether then now it's time to go back in the gym and fix what we got to fix. Watch that video and watch it humbly and be honest with yourself. I think that's the best way to do it.
100%.
Angel, do you have any upcoming fights planned, or let the audience know what's going on with you and your boxing career right now moving forward? In case they're unaware.
Yeah, so right now right now we're locked in for this Team Combat League, and it starts next week. The camp starts, so I'll be under contract for the time being, so I won't be able to fight anymore outside of the thing until I think July. So I'm just trying to see where this Combat League opens up for me, because like I said, I like it because it gives a lot of fighters that don't have that big platform or the big amateur background, it gives them a chance to expose themselves now, to show who they are. So I'm just writing with it right now to see what doors open up, because there's going to be a lot of names, a lot of eyes on this new thing.
Can you explain to everybody what this Combat League is and who's in it and what's happening with it? Some people aren't aware, but I want everybody to know about this.
Yeah, so they have 8 different cities they're going to do, and they want to see pretty much who has the best fighters, who has the baddest fighters, the toughest fighters, from like Los Angeles, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, Texas, Las Vegas, and there's another one in California. So I made the Team Los Angeles. Nice. We'll be training right there at 10 Goose Boxing Gym. Ricky will be our coach over there, so it's gonna be pretty cool. And it's not even just only boxers in it. I know that there's a lot of MMA guys in it. It's just striking though, but there's a lot of that's why they call it Team Combat League, not like Team Boxing League, because there's MMA fighters and boxers. So it's good because most of us would be like, oh, I know who this boxer is, I know who this boxer is, but you're not gonna know who all these MMA fighters are, So it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be like 2-minute rounds. 2-minute rounds, so it's straight to the action. There's no trying to box them and trying to fill out the rounds. These are like the championship rounds right here.
So what's the format like? Are you guys like in a house all together, or do you guys just show up to fight and have your own camps? How's the show work?
So it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be like a reality show kind of thing, kind of like the Contender was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's gonna be, this is season 1, so I'm not really too sure on the full details yet. We're gonna I know I'm pretty sure they're gonna start filming on Thursday when we are on the 13th when I go. Mm-hmm. They're gonna start filming and probably break it all down.
And how can we watch? Is it gonna be on Netflix or Amazon or TV? How can we find this?
I'm not too sure yet. You could
Okay.
follow their Instagram for like the updates. It's Team Combat League, and they'll put all the updates. But as soon as I find out, I'll be posting the updates as well.
Yeah, we'll put the link to that in the bio of this video too, so people can
Okay.
follow.
Absolutely. You talk a lot about faith and God, and that's beautiful. Did you discover God later on, or was God
Yeah.
always part of your journey?
I mean, I always believed,
Spirituality.
I always believed in God. Um, but I was never taught God growing up. It was just kind of like I had a lot of questions in the world, like of what was going on, the way I grew up, and I had a lot of questions on like when I lost my brother. It kind of made me question God. Um, so like it was kind of hard for me to trust somebody that took something so close to me. It was hard for that, and so I had a lot of questions, and then people were like, someone told me one day like, open up the Bible. There's a lot of game in there, and I did, and I just started reading it a little bit here and there. Like when I would go to camps in India, I was staying in Indio, California for Bektamir Malakuziev for his camp, and I brought a Bible over there with me, and I just started reading it a little bit here and there. And then my girlfriend that I am with, um, she was into church. She was trying to get herself going with church, and so it was just like, all right, like this is something I prayed for a girl that's into church that will help me get into it. So yeah, I went to church with her, and it was just like a great feeling, and my pastor there at the church, he was a boxer before, so it was just like I felt like this is all right. This is God talking to me, telling me this is where I belong. And he's an honest pastor. I feel, I could like he's pure when he talks about it. He's not for the money. He's not for that. He's for what the truth is. He reads it how it is. He
Mhm.
doesn't try to sugarcoat it to make you feel good about yourself. Like he's gonna tell you exactly what it says and what you need to hear.
That's
And
awesome.
I respected that a lot. So it was just like, all right, this is where I need to be because I never really had that father figure in my life. My dad was always in and out of jail, so it was just like I never had that father figure. So me trying to get closer with God, I felt like, all right, this is the structure I needed in my life too. Besides boxing.
Mhm.
And a lot of the like people that I sparred, I prayed for them like God just keep giving me wisdom, and let me grow in the sport. And it is, like I don't pray like, oh, let me just get to the top, God, like now give me the wisdom and the strength to continue going in this sport, because it's a tough sport. And so yeah, I grew closer and closer with him, and I love it now. I try to bring people all the time with me to church on Sundays.
That's
I'm glad you're spreading that message. Do you feel more grounded now that you've come to the Lord? More
Yeah, I did.
humble?
I do. I feel a lot more, and I'm still learning how to be more humble. It's like there's still a lot of like I have a lot of ways that I'm trying to change still as well, and it takes time. I know it's not gonna happen overnight, but just trying to stay close to God, it keeps me humble. It keeps me a lot more humble, and it doesn't let me try to change my heart.
that's awesome, brother.
Awesome.
So you're just beginning your career. Um, where do you envision yourself in the next five? I mean, after winning this competition, obviously, do you envision yourself going, and what are the goals for you?
So within the next 5 years, I would plan on trying to honestly be at one of the top contenders for sure, or fighting for a belt. I feel like in the next couple years, I plan on trying to jump at some of these guys in the top, in the ranking. Because it's like, all right, I already seen all the guys. Like for me, it's like every camp I went to, I try to see what this guy's doing to be at the top. So I'm trying to take a little bit of this guy's, a little bit of this guy's, wisdom, and just trying to use it towards myself, so that when it comes time for me to fight somebody, and it's time, and I feel like I'm ready for it, and my team feels like we're ready for it, I'm gonna jump on it because I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys, most of these boxers that are just big amateurs, they've been babied their whole life. And I feel like that everything was handed to them because as long as they did what they had to do with boxing, their parents took care of everything. And for me, it was like I never had that. I had to keep myself in the gym. If not, I was going to be in trouble in the streets or, doing drugs or something. So I had to keep myself in there because I knew it was like, I'm trying to break the cycle I grew up in.
Awesome,
So
man. Setting the
this,
example.
yeah.
Um, I guess being a prospect, I don't like using that term, but I mean you are a prospect, and with all the other up and coming prospects, the pool that's coming up, how do you think they'll change the sport, and what are they going to all bring to the evolution of boxing?
Um, I like a lot of the young
Different
prospects.
approach.
You know, a lot of the prospects. I like them, and I just hope that they stay focused and they start making these fights happen. You know, they don't just try to wait and play with their record too much. Like, oh, let me just try to build. You know, because a lot of people just want to stay undefeated, and that's a good thing. But it's like, um, you got to make boxing what it is, you know, and give the fans like exciting fights. A lot of these guys want to be like build the record and be like, I'm the best, and then this guy over here in the same division, I'm the best, and they're just talking, but they don't want to fight each other, you know.
Yeah.
And
Very,
that's why I'm glad like Ryan Garcia and Gervonta finally made it happen. Caleb Plant and David Benavidez made it happen because it's like this is what boxing needs, you know. Who is it? Devin Haney and Lomachenko. I think that's gonna be another good one. And
absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
we
just
got
glad that they're
fights
making them
coming up
happen right now.
here. Yeah, no, we're gonna be privileged to see some great fights in the next few months here. Speaking on those, Benavidez, Caleb Plant, you've worked with both of them, I said. Thoughts and how do you see that playing out?
Uh, it's gonna be a crazy fight, I think, you know, because it's like they're both hungry right now. Um, they both know what's at stake. Which is the mega fight for Canelo. It's gonna be either revenge for Caleb Plant, and he wants it, you know. So it's gonna be a tough fight, you know. It's like, but it's just like like for Caleb, he has to just stay calm, you know, the whole time because David's gonna come with that pressure for sure. You know, they have a lot of bad blood, and David's known for the pressure, but he looked decent with Canelo, but Canelo is small, you know. Canelo's small. He came up in weight and beat him. David's a big boy, you know, so it's a different kind of it's different with him. But they both have like he has the tools to do it. They both do. It's just gonna come down to who wants it more that night, honestly.
Who do you favor in the fight if you had to make a pick?
I would favor David a little bit. Just cause like it's kind of yeah, I would favor David. I would give it like 60-40 David. Just because of his combination and his confidence, you know, in himself. And he throws some crazy combinations.
What about Haney versus Lomachenko? Who do you give the edge to in that fight?
I'm gonna give it to Devin. I think it's gonna be kind of like Devin's gonna kind of play it smart and trying to box him a little bit, running around, and Lomachenko's gonna try to jump into something. But he looks small compared to Devin. You know, he looks small and he might get caught with something. So
I
who
think
knows?
would have mopped the floor with him if this was maybe 2, 3 years ago. I just think everything's changed now, right? I mean, we were talking about this earlier, like some of these great fights that are happening now would be completely different 2, 3 years ago. It's just they almost giving the guys time to get better.
Yeah,
And
for sure. Like
right?
even with the Triple G Canelo, like if that would have happened a little bit sooner, Triple G was on roll, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I think even the first one when they robbed, I feel like they robbed Triple G for that first fight, you know. And
they did. He won it.
And I think it messed up Triple G's like confidence and he was still confident knocking people out, but like I just think it messed him up. Like he was more worried about the judges, you know, than actually just going in there and doing what he had to do still. You know, he knew he had to like, all right, I gotta watch out for this because if not, the judge is gonna give it to him again. And I just think that kind of messed him up. But yeah, there's a lot of fights. Like if he would have fought him a little bit sooner, it would have been a different story.
Absolutely.
Angel Lozano's pound for pound boxer currently. Who would you say is pound for pound? Top 3 pound for pound. Let's make it a little easier.
Okay, I would put Usyk up there. I respect him a lot just because, you know, he went undisputed at cruiserweight and then went up to the heavyweight and beat the top guy, you know, 2 times. So I think if he beats Tyson Fury, which I think he can, he just got to play it smart, you know, because Tyson's going to try to use a lot of dirty game plans with his size on him. And so I would put him. I like that's tough. I like Crawford, but I think Crawford just needs his big fight with like Earl Spence or something, you know, because the welterweights he beat, they're already coming off losses, you know, like they weren't nothing special anymore. Like they weren't in that prime. It could maybe if he would have fought him like when they were, you know, still on that row, but he beat Sean Porter, which Sean Porter came off of a loss, you know, to Earl Spence. So it's like you already got his food, his leftovers, you know, and then it's like Cal Brook was already messed up from Spence and Triple G. So it was just like, I don't know. For me, he needs a big fight at 147 to get it. But I still put him up there because, he did what a lot of fighters can't do, is go undisputed at 140,
Mm-hmm.
So I give him his flowers for that for sure. And I like how he's a switch hitter. He's dangerous.
Yeah.
So one thing we like to do here, Angel, is we just throw out some names to you and just kind of get your initial responses to these guys. So this is Chance's thing.
Okay, I'll throw out a couple names. Just give me your first thoughts, like you said. Manny Pacquiao.
I love Pacquiao. I love how he is. He's a people champion for sure. No matter if he wins or loses, the people still love him and respect him. There's not really much to say bad about him. It's more the boxing haters that just want to talk shit on something. And
yeah.
So, but I love Pacquiao. I've been his media workouts when he would go work out at the park. I got to see him in the gym, so it's dope. He's a good person.
Tyson Fury.
I like Tyson Fury too as well. He's one of my favorite. I like him because he's a big guy. He's he can move for a big guy. You don't really see too many big guys can move like that. And the story he has behind himself with the depression, it's like that's a good it's a good story because a lot of people could relate to that. And it gives people hope to just don't give up yet. You never know, tomorrow might be your best day, so don't give up now.
Andre Ward.
Andre Ward is probably my all-time favorite for sure. Just like I said, the way he carried himself and how he was a real technical boxer. He wasn't the strongest, wasn't the biggest. I feel like I could relate to that sometimes. Where most of these sparring sessions I went into, these were top guys, so I wasn't the biggest or the strongest guy to these guys, And
cut out my mistake.
Yeah, well, it looks like we lost Angel, but you know what? That was an amazing interview, Chance.
That was really good. Yeah.
Really,
it might pop back in.
Yeah, possibly. If he pops back in, awesome. If not, we'll
give him 2 minutes. If not, then yeah.
Yeah, no.
That was good. He's a good guy.
The one thing that I really take away from this, Chance, is the fact that he talks about humility a lot, and that's a really, I think that's something a lot of people don't really talk about, is that humility that one gains.
Oh, you're back. Thanks.
And hey, we're back. Awesome. Fantastic. We were just kind of recapping some of the things that you were talking about there. Hey. Connecting to our... There you are.
Us?
There you are.
Can you hear me?
Awesome, brother man. Yeah, no.
I got one more name.
Sorry about that. I got a call. Let me put on Do Not Disturb real quick so that I don't get no more calls.
No problem.
No worries, brother.
My bad about that.
All good.
No, that's all good.
We don't want to take too much more of your time either, so we'll wrap.
I got one more name for you, and this is from our country, our home, our like where we're from, Canada. Do you Cody the Cripper Crowley, who's fighting on the undercard of Plant Benavides against Abel Ramos? What do you think of him?
Honestly, I can't say that I haven't. I'll be honest, I haven't heard of the guy. I haven't really looked up much of him or heard of him, but I'll definitely do my research on him.
Yeah,
he's ranked number 5 welterweight in the world. If he wins this fight against Abel Ramos, he'll probably have a chance to fight Errol Spence.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in Canada. We don't got many Canadian boxers, so that's why I had to bring it up.
Yeah, that's dope. Isn't Betterby? Doesn't he stay out there in Canada?
He does. Yeah, Montreal.
Yeah. He's a nice guy too. I want to see him and Bibble fight.
Well, that'd be an amazing fight. Awesome, brother man. Listen, we've taken a lot of your time. I know you need to get back into whatever you got to get going into here as well. So thank you so much, my man, for taking out the time and for sharing your energy and your positive vibes. And I feel motivated after talking to you. I mean, we're all on the same page here. We're creating something as well. We're not boxers, but we're creating something very similar, to get our name out and what have you. So, having you on, having all the guests that we've had on with us, help us, motivate us to keep working hard and not giving up the dream. I say it every morning. We're going to be the biggest podcast in the world within 2 years. So,
that's right, man. Thank you guys I appreciate it for having me. And
no, absolutely. And we hope that as you continue your journey, you remember us, and we can always stay connected and document this with you and get the word out there, man. So very quickly before we let you go, how can people find you? What's your handles? We'll put all this in the links as well, but where can we find you?
Okay, I appreciate it, man. You can find me on Instagram. Oh, can you hear me? You can find me on Instagram at KIDD _282. I have Facebook as well, Angel Lozano.
Okay. Fantastic. Awesome. Angel, thank you so much, brother man. Please
you
be
so
safe
much.
and God bless and
Thank you guys, man. I appreciate it. God bless you guys too.
give us love,
Thank you.
all our love to you and your family, my man.
Likewise, brother. Appreciate it.
Take care,
Thanks,
brother
man.
man. So we'll probably release this on. I'm probably going to release this one tomorrow.
Okay.
We did an interview with Cody Crowley yesterday, so I'm going to release that one tonight. I was planning to release that one tomorrow, but you know what? These two interviews are so good. I want to get them both out this week. So
Okay.
I will send you the links and everything. So if you can just promote it on your social media as well and get your guys and gals to
Yeah, for sure.
and get onto the show and subscribe, that'd be awesome, brother. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Good
I
luck in the
appreciate you guys, man.
Combat League. We'll have you on after the Combat League's over and talk about it. Good luck, man. I hope you win it all.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you will win it all, man. You will win it
Yes,
all.
sir. God willing. God willing.
God
Thanks.
willing, man. Take care, my friend.
Sure. All right, you
Okay.
too now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.